So we have hit a critical juncture, a turning point, if you will, on the closure of the government. And the government needs to open back up. And I'm going to explain it in a way that nobody else will explain it to you. If you're watching CNBC over the last couple of days, they were saying things like, the repo market is under great stress. And they've loaned out. Banks have been getting money, from the Federal Reserve at incredible rates, highest it's been since 2020. What does that mean? What does that mean? The banks, when they close at night, they have to have a certain amount of cash in their vaults to cover everything. It's a requirement by law. And if they don't have that, then they have to go to what's called the repo market, and they borrow money overnight. They pay interest on it, and they borrow it overnight, and they give it back in the morning when they open back up. Okay? It's only done when banks are short of cash. It used to be a very bad thing, but now it's kind of happening all the time, but not at these levels. So let me explain what all of this means, okay? Try to imagine, if you will, that America's financial system is like a living body, okay? The heart, as much as I hate to say it, for this example, is the Federal Reserve. It doesn't create life, but it keeps the blood pumping, okay? The arteries and the veins are the banks and the institutions that carry the lifeblood of the economy, money, okay? And the capillaries are like you and me. Every family, every small business, every worker trying to make a paycheck stretch from one week to the next. Okay, we're not an artery, we're capillaries. Now, in this body, there is something called the repo market. Okay, this is a place where banks and institutions go to borrow cash overnight. Okay, think of that cash like oxygen. Okay, the oxygen exchange that happens in the lungs. It's fast, it's constant, it's invisible, but it is vital. You don't have the oxygen, it doesn't matter what the blood's doing, right? Every night, money goes out. Every morning, money comes back in. And that rhythm is what keeps the entire body alive. Well, in the last few days, that rhythm has faltered. Something is clogging the arteries. The banks, the vessels, they're gasping now for oxygen. So they're going to the Fed's emergency oxygen tank, the standing repo facility, and they are drawing record amounts of cash out just to keep breathing, okay? It's like watching a marathon runner suddenly reach for an oxygen mask at mile 3. Why? Why is this happening? This is the important part. Because while the government is shut down, and we might think, well, that's good, they're not spending money. The Treasury is the fiscal liver of the body, and it's storing all of the blood in the liver, okay? It's storing cash in a vault now called the Treasury General Account. There's nearly $1 trillion sitting in there. Cash, $1 trillion sitting in there, not being paid. Every dollar that goes into that vault is a dollar that can't circulate now through the body. So now it's starving everything of cash because there's $1 trillion sitting in the Treasury. And even though you can't see it, every second the shutdown drags on, the system is being starved and the arteries are tightening and the heart is straining and the body is starting to shiver. And that's what's happening right now in the shadows of our financial system. It's not about Wall Street greed. It's not some obscure number on a Bloomberg terminal. It is about a government that is turned inward, frozen by politics, unable to pass the simplest resolution to fund itself. And because it's doing this, it's pulling all of that precious liquidity, $1 trillion in cash, the oxygen, the life of our economy, out of the bloodstream and into a vault. If you've ever had a power outage in winter, you might know the feeling. Let me describe it this way. First, it's fine. You grab a candle, you grab a blanket. It's kind of fun. You start the fireplace. Hours drag on. The house starts to get a little cooler. If it continues to drop on, the pipes begin to freeze. And by morning, it's no longer a cute little thing that, we're just going to sit by the fireplace. It's cold, okay? That's where we're at financially right now. We are not at the point of collapse, but we are at the point of freezing the pipes. What does that mean when I'm talking about the arteries? The government shutdown has locked up the Treasury's checkbook. That means fewer payments to contractors, less spending, less money flowing into the banking system. When less cash circulates, the banks can't lend freely because there's no cash. Money gets tight. repo rates, that invisible overnight interest rates, that starts to spike. And when that happens, it affects the capillaries, you and me, the smallest players, the smallest businesses, the consumers, the credit unions. We begin to feel it first. Okay? When arteries clog at the heart, what's the first part of the body that goes cold, goes numb? The fingers, the toes. That's us. Here's the tragic irony. The politicians, the Democratic Party, fighting over a principle. They may think it's about posturing, about leverage, about who blinks first, but it's not. While they're playing chicken with our nation's checkbook, it is now time to say, okay, enough is enough, because the system is starting to gasp for air. And this is how financial crises begin. We're not in one yet. But again, the pipes are beginning to freeze. And this is how things happen. They happen quietly, not with a bang, not with a crash, but with tightening. With the arteries getting clogged, all of a sudden you have a widowmaker. And you didn't see it coming, because it's a slow, silent squeeze that begins in the overnight funding markets. The kind of plumbing that nobody ever looks at, nobody ever talks about, nobody even understands. Do you understand how the pipes are working in your house behind your walls? I don't even know where they go. I mean, I know they eventually go down and out, but I don't know. And all of a sudden you find out when a pipe bursts. Make no mistake, if this continues, it won't just be the banks that are hurting. It will be your mortgage rate, your credit card interest, your grocery bill. Because the system has to begin charging more for everything, because they are paying more in interest to hoard what little cash is out there. The longer it goes on, the more cash goes into the government, and it sits there. It's like watching your bloodstream start to clot. You're not going to feel it right away, but if it reaches the heart, reaches the brain, the damage can be fatal. So here's the one truth today on the economy that the media won't tell you, or they fail to explain. The repo market. What the hell does that mean? Why are you only talking to the people on Wall Street? Why don't you tell the people who are going to be affected first? How can an alcoholic DJ figure out a way to explain this to the average person, but you can't? This shutdown is not just a political stalemate. It is a self-inflicted wound. We are at a point now where the government is literally draining oxygen from the economy, and the Fed is in triage mode, pumping emergency liquidity into the veins just to keep the patient alive. The question is, how long can the Fed keep doing CPR before it tires out? How long before they just, we got to start printing money? The cure is not more money printing. It's governance. It's having a damn adult in the room. It's lawmakers that understand that starving the bloodstream to win a headline is not courage. It's madness. When will the Democrats stop this game? The shutdown has to end, not because Wall Street wants it, but because Main Street needs it. The blood of the American economy, the trust, the liquidity, the stability, it's not infinite. And once the heart starts to falter, it takes more than an emergency repo to bring a nation back to life. This must end.